There is a moment, a specific, identifiable moment, when a person changes. Not gradually, not slowly, but a before and an after. Colleagues notice it first, then family, then the person themselves, if they're honest enough to look. It happens to politicians, to generals, to founders, to CEOs. They arrive humble, hungry, driven by something real, and then power finds them, and something inside them begins to shift. This is the story of what power actually does to the human mind. Psychologist Dacher Keltner at UC Berkeley spent over 20 years studying the effects of power on the human brain. What he found was alarming. People who gain power begin to lose empathy measurably, neurologically. Brain scans show that powerful people literally stop mirroring the emotions of others. The part of the brain that helps us understand what another person is feeling, it goes quiet. Keltner called it the power paradox. The very traits that help people rise, warmth, empathy, vision, are the first things power destroys. The first stage of the transformation is entitlement. It begins subtly. A CEO stops waiting in lines. Meetings start when they arrive. Opinions go unchallenged. Over time, the brain begins to register this as normal, as deserved. Studies show that powerful people are significantly more likely to take the last cookie from a shared plate, to interrupt others mid-sentence, and to break traffic laws, not because they are evil, but because their brain has been rewired by 1,000 small moments of being treated as special. The world bends to them, and they begin to expect it. The second stage is isolation, not physical, but psychological. As a CEO's power grows, honest feedback disappears. Subordinates stop pushing back. Friends stop challenging. Only flattery survives in the room. The powerful person becomes surrounded by mirrors. People who reflect back only what they want to see. Psychologists call this the echo chamber effect, and it is lethal. Because without honest feedback, the mind loses its ability to self-correct. Bad decisions compound, blind spots widen, and the CEO begins to believe their own mythology. Consider Steve Jobs. By nearly every measure, one of the greatest CEOs in history. He built Apple from a garage into the most valuable company on earth. But the people who worked closest to him told a different story. Jobs was known for his reality distortion field, his ability to make people believe the impossible was possible. But that same power made him brutal. He publicly humiliated employees, denied paternity of his own daughter for years, screamed at engineers who disagreed with him. The vision that made him great was inseparable from the cruelty that made him feared. Power didn't create the darkness, it revealed it, and then it amplified it. Then there is Robert Maxwell, British media mogul, member of parliament, self-made billionaire, a man so intoxicated by his own power that reality became optional. He stole hundreds of millions from his employees' pension funds to prop up his crumbling empire. He believed he was above consequence, that his power would protect him from accountability forever. In 1991, Maxwell fell from his yacht into the Atlantic Ocean and drowned. Whether it was accident, suicide, or something else, no one knows. What is certain is this: he had built a world where no one could tell him no, and that world destroyed him. Psychologists have a name for what happens to behavior when power removes consequence. They call it disinhibition. When people believe they cannot be punished, the brain's restraint mechanisms, the systems that keep social behavior in check, begin to disengage. Powerful people start saying what they actually think, doing what they actually want, treating rules as suggestions. And here is the most uncomfortable part. The research shows that disinhibition doesn't just reveal who someone was all along. It amplifies it. Power takes whatever is already inside a person and turns the volume all the way up. There is a cruel irony at the heart of power. The more of it you have, the more isolated you become, because power changes every relationship it touches. Friendships become transactions. Loyalty becomes performance. Love becomes complicated by money and status. CEOs at the top of the largest companies in the world report some of the highest rates of loneliness of any professional group studied. They are surrounded by people at all times and trusted by almost none of them. The loneliness of command is not a side effect of power. It is its shadow. It follows power everywhere it goes. History is full of brilliant leaders who, at the height of their power, made catastrophically bad decisions. Not because they became stupid, but because they stopped listening. Kodak's CEO dismissed digital photography as a threat, while Kodak engineers had invented it. Blockbuster's board laughed Netflix out of a meeting. Lehman Brothers CEO Dick Fuld ignored every warning about the housing collapse until it was too late. In each case, the pattern is the same. Power had insulated them so completely from reality that when reality finally arrived, they could not see it. By then, it was too late to look away. The fall, when it comes, is rarely quiet. It is almost always public, humiliating, and total. The same people who stood in silent deference during the rise watch openly during the collapse. The yes men disappear overnight. The loyalty evaporates. The press, once managed and controlled, turns feral. And the powerful person, stripped of the thing that defined them, faces the hardest question of all. Who am I without this? For many, there is no answer, because power had replaced identity so completely that without it, there is nothing left to find. But not all powerful people follow this path. History also gives us leaders who held on to their humanity, who found ways to resist the corrupting pull of power. What made them different? Research points to three things. They actively sought out people who would challenge them. They kept relationships outside of work that had nothing to do with their status. And they practiced what psychologists call perspective taking. The deliberate, conscious effort to see the world through someone else's eyes. Power does not corrupt automatically. It corrupts when there is nothing left to hold the person in place. The anchor isn't power. It was never power. It was always the people around them willing to tell the truth. Power is not inherently evil, but it is inherently revealing. It strips away the social pressures that keep most of us in check and shows what was always underneath. The question power forces every person to answer is not, "What will I do with this?" It is, "Who was I all along?" Because power doesn't change people, it unmasks them. The transformation of a CEO is not a story about corruption. It is a story about identity, about what we choose to hold on to when the world stops making us, and about what we are willing to become when no one can stop us. Welcome back to Greed Index. We'll see you next week.